Hey, what's going on there, man? You're looking a little stressed out. Well, there's plenty of room to be stressed and plenty of reasons to be stressed. You're alive, you're breathing, you're fed. What could you possibly have to worry about? I'm worried about other people and what other people are doing. Oh, don't mind me. My stupid little joke at the beginning. It'll probably not even turn out. How's it going, everyone? Actually was using my cell phone. It's the only phone or camera I have that I can just pause, but I can't see that I'm pausing it, so who knows if that even worked. My stupid corny joke. I keep myself enlightened and humored by some of the stupid things that I come up with. And really not taking myself too seriously has been one of the most valuable, I guess, valuable assets I have when it comes to knowing myself and to not letting bullshit get to me. And, I'm getting ready to do a video, actually, a podcast here, which I put off for a couple days, and it's about method of control and the machine that we're living under right now, but also the chaos, because I don't want to just talk about the problems with the world. My intention, when I ask myself, what is your underlying intent with talking about these things? It's because I see so many people with so much potential that are so bothered by the most trivial things in life, that are fighting about, whether you're left or right, and today whether you're wearing a mask or not. I mean, people will find anything to fight with other people about. And I believe it's somewhat representative of what's going on right now with changes in society. I'm not here to talk about that. I want to specifically talk about stress and how we can overcome some of these things. When I was younger, in my 30s, I had a lot of stress, severe stress, butterflies in my stomach all the time, anxiety, to the degree of, I'm not even sure. I've had a couple panic attacks, but generally I never got that far. But I started asking myself, what do you worry about? What is worth worrying about in life? We worry about our health, whether we're sick or not. We worry about our future, and we worry about our finances. And all three of those things are tied in together, because we worry about running out of money or running out of health. And therefore, we fear this mortality and this general unease of being alive in itself. But there's a lot of other secondary reasons why we stress, which are easier to control if we learn how. For example, kids. I've heard a lot of people very concerned about kids in my life. What are the kids going to grow up with? When I was a kid, people were worried that we were going to grow up to inherit a messed up world. And guess what? We did. But here we are, and we're making it through. So I've talked to a lot of people today who say I wouldn't have kids in this day and age, and I wouldn't want to raise kids in this world, and look at what we're leaving them. And I can completely relate with that thinking. But for those who do have kids already, they stress often about how their kids are going to grow up, whether they're spending too much time on their pads, whether they should follow societal expectations, whether their kids should go to public school or they should be at private school or homeschooled. And parenting is very stressful, even if you just kind of let it go. And don't even do anything. Then you'll just have screaming kids who stress you out even worse. It's stressful to try to control the situation, and it's stressful to have an out of control situation. And I guess the same would go for money. The same would go for health. Just like I said before, those things, if you don't take care of it, you're going to have problems. But if you're always obsessed with it, you might just cause more problems for yourself. So just kind of letting things flow, going with the flow. But we also stress about our status in the world and our goals, the things that we want to accomplish. And especially as you reach, your 40s, you'll start to look back and say, well, wait, I wanted to do this and this, and how come I haven't finished this and accomplished that? And then instead of blaming, we can blame society, but we generally start to look within and say, okay, where's that motivation I had when I was younger? And then we start to stress because of what we don't have or what we think we should have. And that's where it becomes useless. There is a certain benefit to this, stress, this anxiety, if it motivates us and causes us to take action. So stressing about Being in a dangerous situation, for example, you're walking on a cliff face, your adrenaline kicks in. As you slip, it allows you to grip the wall and save yourself from falling. Adrenaline and anxiety, stress has its purpose. And if you use it and you funnel it properly, you can use it to drive, well, whatever you want to accomplish. I think some people have everyone has different goals in life. Some people want to go, go, go and always be doing something, getting something accomplished or be recognized. Other people are just happy and content to just exist. And we shouldn't stress based on keeping up with the Joneses, looking at what other people have or don't have. The last couple of fears that I wanted to point out were natural disasters and man-made disasters. In other words, we fear dangerous weather or dangerous, cataclysms, and we also fear dangerous people. Coincidentally enough, I'll point out the fact that I had a dream the other night that I was a sniper, and my rifle was jammed. It was weird. But then last night I had a dream that I was being chased by a bear. We were at some kind of concert or festival or something, I don't know. Then we were in this city, and then there was a bear chasing us. And all I remember is running and trying to get down into this little stairwell, a concrete stairwell. And I remember there were several different ones. Some of them had bushes that I could hide behind, and this one didn't. So we got down there, and I remember, I don't know if I had a gun or not. They were different nights that I had the dreams, but just being chased by a bear in a dream, for example, it's not even real, but it's stressful. People who have nightmares regularly, they can cause them severe anxiety that carries over into the day, and they don't even realize it. But our fear of nature, the point I was going to make, is nothing compared to our fear of other humans. Because nature will strike back, nature will kick ass, but it doesn't plan to kick your ass. If a bear attacks, it's circumstantial. If a raccoon bites you or another animal, whatever it might be, if you walk into a beehive, you're partially responsible. But with humans, there's nutcases out there who will, just walk up and stab you, right? I mean, those are the kinds of things people consider. It's very rare and very unlikely to happen. It also, along that lines, with the dangerous people, is why so many people are afraid for their kids. And I remember back in the 80s and 90s, there were all these stories on the news about abductions, kids getting abducted from their yards. And that was back in the day when we'd get on our bikes at dawn and, ride till dusk. Parents didn't care where we were. We didn't have phones or communication. We'd fall and crack our heads open and just put a Band-Aid on that crap and get back to it the next day. As a skateboarder, plenty of tumbles. And we just did our thing. And these days the parents say, well, why aren't the kids out playing? And a lot of them are. But there are many parents who are actually fearful because of what they see on the media. They think their kids are going to be abducted. And it's such a ridiculous fear most of the time. I mean, more often than not, when kids are taken, it's by somebody the family knows or a family friend. And there are those extremely rare instances where it's a stranger danger thing. But in reality, keeping kids inside all the time is not, it's going to be more stressful than letting them play. So yes, there are dangerous people, but I don't think it's worth physical stress over. So, what can we do to overcome these things? Take deep breaths and learn self-control. As I mentioned, in my early 30s, I was anxious. About 12, 13 years ago, I went through a period where I said, I need to go to a doctor. And even then, I've always been an herbal kind of guy. I don't like taking pharmaceuticals, but I thought Valium, when I discovered it, it helped me immensely. So I thought maybe I'll try to get a prescription for that. And instead, he gave me Klonopin, which is fine, and then Buspirone. And the Klonopin was supposed to be the breakthrough medication, and the Buspirone was what I was supposed to take. Within a few days, I had brain zaps and was feeling all weird. It just made me feel out of place. I just tossed the stuff and said, no, I need to conquer this on my own. Yes, I smoke cannabis, and I always have, but that's not something that really eases anxiety as much as people might think. It can actually increase it in a lot of people. So I really think it comes down to a balance of intake, the things we're putting in our bodies, as well as a balance of the mindset and our fears about the outside world. Ultimately, we're stuck with our own fears, and stressing about the unknown is what we should avoid. It's okay to be slightly anxious about the things we need to do, but not the things that we can't do anything about. I've said this a million times, but it's the circle of concern and the circle of influence. The influence are the things you can do something about. Maybe this came up because I'm going this weekend to the first concert I've been to since, in like what, 2 years. The whole COVID thing just screwed up all of the tours. And I did go to a show at McMinimans. It was a small Jerry Garcia, or a Grateful Dead cover band that plays locally here. But that was a very small venue and a small band. We're going to see Phish at the Columbia Gorge Amphitheater. And we are going to be there for 3 full nights. We're leaving on Thursday because we have a camping pass all weekend. So about a week ago, we get an email and a notification from the Phish website. Oh, by the way, we're just changing regulations starting at your show. Everyone coming to the show has to have either a vaccination card, a complete vaccination, or they have to show proof that they've been tested within 48 hours of the first show and tested negative. So my wife and I are like, great, what are we going to do? Look, I'm not against the shot. That's not what I'm here to even talk about. I've been biding my time, checking it out, waiting for approval, seeing what's going on. But even now, if I were to go get the first one, I still wouldn't be able to get in because it's not a full round of vax. So everybody's going crazy about this. People can't get into concerts, they can't get into buildings, and they can't go out to eat without the passport. And it's just turning into a crazy nightmare. But yeah, it stressed me out at first. I'm like, what am I going to do? I have to schedule an instant test the day before I leave, or within the day I leave, because the show doesn't start till Friday, but we're going a day early. That means I have to get tested and make sure that by the time I go through those doors at the concert, it's still within 48 hours. Then we're going to get there, and we're going to have to deal with not just standing in line for hours with tickets in the heat, but they're probably going to have a whole separate check thing where they're going to have to check people's different vax cards and their tests on their phones and their physical printouts. It's going to be crazy, and I'm very curious to see how it turns out. But on top of that, we also got an email from my son's school. He's starting school the day after we get back from our trip. And they said, oh, by the way, they need a booster shot for the Tdap vaccine, which is the tetanus, pertussis, whooping cough one. And they need to have that before he can go back to school. So they basically said you're forbidden from entering school until this is taken care of. So I tried to schedule that, but the hospitals are busy doing other shots. Obviously, there's other things going on right now. So I am whining about my personal medical things. But the point I was trying to make is that all this popped up in like a few days. And on top of it, we've still got to get all of our stuff ready to go, get the car ready to go, and all of this has to be planned out. And plans stress me out. They always have. It's something that there's 2 things that stress me out in life that I'm really trying to overcome. One of those is planning things and making sure that everything goes through. And I'm not a planner. I like to let things flow. But my wife, of course, wants plans. We both need plans, to accommodate a functioning trip. Plus, my mom has to watch the kids, and all these different things have to fall into place. But besides stressing about that, the only other time I stress is when I'm behind the wheel. And I think part of the reason why I stress before I go on trips is knowing that I have to do the driving. I have to get behind the school bus wheel, and I have to drive slowly across the desert through the heat to make it to the destination safely with my cargo, my peeps in there. It's like when I go camping with my family, we're all in there, and I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want to have an accident. So driving is stressful to me, and other drivers stress me out. And I've tried to conquer this for years. It's very strange because I'm generally pretty patient. I can take deep breaths. In the right mindset, I can stay in the right lane, and I just don't care. But there are times when I question my own patience and therefore my own anxiety levels. What am I contributing to this? Did I have too many cups of coffee? That kind of thing. Am I tired? There's so many things that contribute to our mood and our stress levels. Getting enough sleep and a good diet are essential to not feeling like crap and being anxious all the time. We know this. But anyhow, that's my ramble for now. I could go on and on probably, but I try to keep these at 15 minutes or so because, I don't know. I think I made the point I wanted to make about stress. Kids, future, there are a lot of reasons to stress, and everybody has their own perspectives on what matters and what doesn't. I'm not here to tell you how to not stress or what to stress about. Just hoping to relate to some people about, the situations that we all face. Sometimes we have an easy time, but right now, over the last year, it's been rough for everyone, and that just adds to the problems. So, peace and love, and I will talk to you all next time. After the podcast, I'm going to, it should be a good podcast. Thank you to my top patrons. I've got a list: Sean Schwartzwelder, Zelda Zonk, Tim Smith, River Milliken, Adam Manzinson, MJ Pritchett, Sean Fitzpatrick, Highway Child, and Rob Franzen. Those are my top 9. I wanted to say thank you, and I'm going to read the rest on the list on the video or the audio when I do my podcast. And I hope you'll join me for the upcoming podcast for 15-minute free thinking. And if you haven't heard it already, please check it out. And it's on all the major platforms. There should be a link in the description. Be well. Peace out. Love y'all. I'll talk to you either before or after my trip, and maybe I'll do some live streaming from the fish parking lot. Might be fun. Be well.